Hey, what is up guys, here flying 2Kips here bringing us another video here today. Today what we're going to be talking about is basically how FaZe won MLG Columbus. I'm going to try to do this after every single event that happens. I'm going to try to have a predictions video as well as a recap video, and also with the team that won, I'm going to try to explain probably how they won the event. Bring you guys some cool stats provided by at COD_stats. So I'm going to put their link in the description below. All of the cool facts that I have for you guys today are provided by them. So keep that in mind. Make sure to go follow them. They're a really cool website. I'm not sponsored by them, so I don't want that to sound like I'm a sponsored person by them by any means, which I don't think you get sponsored by COD Stats. But anyway, moving on. So just giving you guys that in mind. So basically, what happened at MLG Columbus? It was a really good event. I didn't really make a recap video, which I really should have. It was really close games. It came down to Optic Gaming and FaZe in the finals. FaZe did come back from a 2 best-of-5 series. Optic only had to win one, FaZe had to win one, and then if FaZe won that one, which they ended up doing, they went to a final best-of-5, and FaZe ended up taking that as well. So that did go to a Game 5. And it was a really close series. It was probably one of the best series that I've ever watched. Optic Gaming put up a hell of a fight. However, FaZe really just showed how good of a team they really are. And I was kind of surprised by this, to be honest. I didn't have them placing very well. I believe I had them placing 5th through 6th, just for the fact that I didn't think that Sensor and Aches would work out very well. However, I probably should have realized how close they were getting on stream. They were constantly having each other's backs, through certain tournaments and stuff, where they would get yelled at, called out on Twitter. Constantly Sensor would be talking about Aches. Constantly Aches would be complimenting Sensor all the time, and I really should have noticed that. I didn't really take notice of it, but I really should have. And overall they just dominated the whole. I mean, they did lose to a couple teams, which I do admit that wasn't the best, but whenever they had to show up, they did. And they came up super clutch in the final, grand final game. I was really, really happy to see how well they did. And yeah, I'm bringing you guys a little bit of stats, talking about why I think they won. But first of all, if you guys don't actually know the players on FaZe, if you're not super familiar, basically it is newly acquired Aches. Aches did come from the old EG team, which is no longer a team anymore, at least in COD anyway. Sensor, who's already there, the team captain, who used to be the team captain. Now Aches is the team captain, as well as Apathy, as well as Slasher. Slasher did come from the old Noble Vanquish squad, which was taken out for Noble now Impact. So yeah, so basically, a cool little stat that I honestly just picked up on as soon as I saw it was also, I saw this. It says when FaZe went up 1-0 in S&D, they won the map 100% of the time. In S&D, I always say this: S&D wins championships. I've heard people say this constantly. S&D will win you championships. If you dominate in S&D, there's a good percentage of the chance that you're going to win the entire event. And obviously, going up 1-0 for them is just a huge morale swing. You can already tell that. They won 100% of the time when they're up 1-0, and that's a big deal. You go up 1-0 in S&D, you have some fire. And a lot of times what you'll see is if teams come back, it's a huge deal in Call of Duty, and I don't feel like a lot of people realize this. Morale is a huge deal. Morale is a huge thing. You see teams come back, if you're down 0-5. We saw this at Black Ops in Black Ops 2. Complexity's down 0-5 to Optic Gaming, I think in like a finals game, and S&D, and Complexity comes back 6 games in a row. So I mean, morale is a huge deal, and that's just one instance. I've seen plenty of them. You go down 0-4, 0-3, and that can be used to be in Ghost. It was the bomb glitch. Teams would come back from the bomb glitch. That team doesn't really have that much morale anymore. You kind of iced out the players. The other team is kind of hyped. They want to come back, and they do it. And a lot of the times you can't really predict that kind of stuff. And that just goes to show, you go up 1-0 in S&D. They're ready. They're dominant. They already feel like they're going to take the whole map, and they did, obviously. And also, by the way, Aches did earn his 19th championship. Shout out to Aches. He becomes the most winningest player in Call of Duty history, Call of Duty MLG history anyway. So big shout out to Aches. Aches was probably one of the best players at the event, not a doubt. And he did actually have some stitches also, which is really, surprising, but he did really well, even though he did have stitches in his hand. Also, another stat was FaZe finished 11-4 in S&D. They won 82% of the rounds in which they drew first blood. The ability to capitalize after that first pick. That is 100% true. I mean, that is a crazy stat that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. First pick or first blood is a huge deal, and that's just in one case is 82%. I've seen a stat before. This was in Ghosts, and if you won, if you went up and got the first blood, 86% of the time that team wins that round, which is totally crazy. And I feel like I didn't see that a whole lot in Advanced Warfare. That's probably just because teams aren't really used to it. You know, they don't really know what to do once they're up 4-3. I mean, what do you do? But you know, FaZe obviously capitalized on that, winning 82% of the times. I know I saw Optic Gaming, you know, they would constantly get, you know, down 3v4 all the time. I feel like a lot of times they were trying to come back from a 2v4 a lot, and especially in the S&D games versus FaZe. You know, it did come down to a really close matchup between them. However, but that was just, I feel like they really dominated the S&D, and like I said, I feel like S&D wins championships, so I felt like that was a big deal for them. That is a huge game 2 as well as a game 5 that you have to win, and if you're winning 2 of those game types, surely you can take a respawn with the lineup that they have. You know, you have Apathy's, Aches, as well as Slasher, who are all really good slayers as well, since they're a pretty good OBJ player. So you know, you have at least, I mean, to be honest, you really have just a guaranteed excuse me, you have a guaranteed, you know, respawn game, right? That's one. You're at least, you know, 1-0, maybe 1-1, and to get that second S&D that they would usually win 84% of the, no, that actually wasn't a stat, but you know, to win the amount of S&Ds that they did, winning, I don't remember the exact amount that they won, you know, that's 2-0. And, you know, like I said, they're a huge hype team. You know, they go up 2-0, it's over. Like, you're not going to come back and beat them. I mean, I don't really think a team actually did come back from a 2-0 against them that I can remember. But if they did, I apologize. But as well as stats, I saw in a bunch of different stats, they were always in the top 5 of anything. This is just one of them. The top 5 uplinks per game, Aches came in second with a 3.38. Which is awesome. I mean, that's crazy to be in as many stats as they were. This was just one of them. I mean, the amount of uplinks that you won or scored by a certain person, which was Aches, scoring, like I said, a 3.38. Really good. I mean, that's really good, as well as a bunch of other stuff that I saw. I just brought up uplink. There were a crazy amount of S&D stats that they had besides the one that I mentioned, as well as, this is another stat. A team who outslayed their opponents won 84% of the time during respawns, 90% in hardpoint, 75% in CTF, and 86% in uplink. So, it just goes to show, Advanced Warfare is 84% of the time, you know, it's who can slay out the most. It's who can dominate. That's why I feel like the teams that were in the finals do have the best slaying power. I feel like some other teams also have good slaying power, but, you know, Slasher, for me, was probably the MVP of the tournament. I know a lot of people don't agree with that stat, which doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't. Slasher was an absolute beast. I'm also going to read you guys off the KDs. I have the KDs on this page over here. The KDs for S&D for them, this is crazy. I want you guys to look at or I'll tell you guys the stat. In S&D, this is their KD. They played a total of 11 maps. Sensor had a 1 KD, 1.00, Apathy with a 1.13, Aches with a 1.36, and Slasher with a 1.69. That is insane, especially Slashers. I thought Aches KD was good, but 1.69, you're almost going, you know, a 2 KD, not really, but you're getting close to a 2 KD in S&D, which is insane. You don't see that stat very often, and you know, them winning S&D is almost a guaranteed win for them. The amount of stats and the amount of crazy stuff that they would go up in, you know, going up 1-0, it was over. Like, you know, the other team goes up 0-1, you know, that's a little bit different, but if they can power back, they can win. And I feel like that's the reason why they won the tournament. As well, I feel like Slasher had one of the best events that I've ever seen him play. I haven't seen him really play that many events. I think I've seen him play a couple times, but Slasher was probably one of the best players at the event. I feel like Sensor really showed up. A lot of people say that Sensor showed up a lot in respawns, which isn't really true to me. He actually averaged the same KD he normally does. Yeah, I think he was around 0.9, 0.8 in some of the game types. However, S&D he did really well in, but overall, I feel like it was just the overall slaying power that they provided. I feel like Apathy had a good event also. It wasn't like his best event, but he really didn't have to show up. And if he did, I feel like they would have just absolutely slayed out everyone. I feel like Apathy's the top 5 slayer. As well as Slasher showed himself up. A lot of people think that he's one of the best players in the game. And after this tournament, there is no doubt that he is one of the best players for right now. So we'll have to see what happens in the next event. This has been kind of a breakdown of why I think FaZe won. I feel like FaZe really dominated the event. They did really well. That was just some stats. Like I said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. There will be more videos coming out soon. Hope you guys did enjoy this. Like I said, make sure to click all my links down below. I will see you guys later, and peace out.